Okay, so I'm busy with this commission at the moment. Currently I'm using woodless charcoal medium to do the skin tones on this drawing here. And obviously what I'm doing on the this area here, the clothing, is graphite to give that smooth sort of finish. It's graphite. I'm using 2B and the other one is 8B over there. I normally hold it like this to try and use the edge of the pencil, and I found that the actual toning of the cloth area is actually quite nice, as you can see over here. I've actually tried to blend it in, and obviously using the side of it. I find that again too, using cross hatching definitely gives a much more sort of even finish, as well. As you can see over here, when you do these shaded areas, this tends to even out quite nicely, I must say, especially using the edge of this pencil, or not really pencils, graphite. Pencils are a completely different thing. Even though there's lead in it, I just feel that I'm getting the effect already I'm after, using the graphite here on the skin, on the actual clothing area. And then the skin tones would be this series over here. Obviously I'm using charcoal to try and get the tones that I really want. I mean, this area here, as you can see, the reference is very, very dark, and even on my PC on the other side, it's also incredibly dark. So I need to use the charcoal to get that depth I'm really after, especially this sort of area here where it's very indented. I find that you really need the charcoal depth. And then obviously the really dark areas, I'll show that to you now, is one would go out of almost your comfort zone in a way, and use a much darker, it's like a stick, to try and really get my depth that I'm seriously after over here. It's a bit messy obviously, but you've got to blow that dust away over here. But as you can see, look at the depth I'm able to get, using this piece of charcoal over here. It really gives me exactly what I'm after. But then of course from here I can blend in this indented area over here. I can actually then take the dark areas and blend it into almost like a lighter area and get the effect I'm really after. Again, charcoal is got to be one of the best mediums around when it comes to sketching, purely because of the absolute black you can get. And then of course, when you shade it in, you can get your white areas coming in quite nicely. Again too, when you go over this to try and marry the two, I mean, this is not nearly as dark as that, for example. Okay, so essentially you really got to work it in quite extensively until you get the effect that you really are after. Again, this is going to be worked in a bit, so I'll spend a bit of time on that a bit later on, and then in the still image I'll then publish that. But it's just a basic idea of my technique in getting my absolute darkness and my absolute light going forward. Again, see, this is obviously got to be worked in over here. So yeah, hopefully this little exercise is giving you some sort of idea of how to actually get your dark areas going and your extreme light areas. I hate using a rubber to lift an area where you can actually just upscale a little bit and work on your technique to get the blending right. Blending is so important, but again too, there's no shortcuts. I really do believe that what you have to do is just work your technique until you get it exactly right. It just takes a bit of patience and practice. Obviously, practice is a huge part of artwork. getting your technique right through practice. There just is absolutely no shortcut as far as I'm concerned. There seems to be a huge trend these days of taking a photograph, importing into Photoshop, and then hit sketch mode, and then publish that onto Instagram or Photoshop and claim it as your own artwork. I mean, for goodness sake, really? You know, who the hell are you fooling, to be honest with you? You know, artwork is said to be enjoyed, not to be cheated. And that is a genuine cheat. And I can't get over the comments that you see people doing and eyeing how great it is. Meanwhile, the guys have spent 5 seconds just hitting the edit button. And to be honest with you, that's just nothing short of fraud. You know, it's a different thing by projecting an image perhaps onto a sketch, onto a surface, projecting it and sketching from there. That's a very old technique, and a lot of artists have gone that route. A lot of your great artists have gone that route as well. Nothing wrong with that. If you want to go and get your proportions exactly right, that's probably some of the best way to do it. But if you've got the skill set to do it manually without having to resort to projection, then go for it. Essentially, if you're ever going to demonstrate art to a public gallery, if you're watching your work, then it's a bit embarrassing, almost having to admit that you need a projector to get your proportions right. I personally wouldn't feel that great about it. I mean, my credibility would just fly out the wall. So I'd rather practice getting my proportions right by working on a wireframe that I've gone and spent a lot of time in putting together, and then working off that. Hopefully this little video clip has given you an insight as to how you can get your skin tones, your shading, and excuse me, I'm still feeling a bit of a cold. Exactly right. You know, it makes a huge difference when, you know, you got a sense of pride in presenting this to your clients, and this is your work. You haven't done anything to almost using as a crutch to get it right. You know, you've done this freehand, the entire thing freehand. Nothing can take that away from you, and I realize that's a sense of pride. It's really worth the years of frustration and practice and getting it exactly right. There we go. It's actually quite nice. Because you can turn around and say to your entire art collection, I didn't use anything to get it the way I wanted to get it. I actually spent hours working that shading, working the proportions, getting it right manually, by hand, freehand. There is just a sense of pride in it, and that's when I get mine from. I think it's really worth the years of actually really practicing. There we go, and I'll publish more stills and video clips of this piece as I go along. You can follow me on Instagram on Naked Eye, or at Greg Groenewold, or on Facebook, Naked Eye Art. I'll be publishing this there shortly as well. Okay, in the meantime, this is on YouTube, and keep following. Okay, cheers.